when I started teaching it, I really wanted to add the human factor to it as well. Because with emotional intelligence, the education is understanding other people's behaviors, what they're doing, why they're doing, how we should reciprocate with that, like listening, understanding, doing things differently. There was, when I was talking to especially the younger generation, and I did this for the over 50s as well, is that they knew the knowledge.
There are many stories out there of strength, resilience, and courage, and we are on a mission to bring them all to you. Welcome to Empowered Voices Amplified.
Our guest today is Pushpa, a global expert in innovation, creativity, and leadership. Pushpa inspires audiences to rethink their approach to success in the innovation leadership age. She has delivered presentations worldwide to diverse audiences on business and organizational growth. With 30 years of experience as a senior accountant and senior tax auditor in the corporate world, she brings a wealth of knowledge to help achieve long-term sustainable growth that enhances the bottom line. Welcome to the podcast, Pushpa.
Thank you so much, Em and Sandra. I'm so grateful to be here. And thank you for the opportunity to join you both beautiful ladies.
Thank you for making time. Yeah, thank you for making time to have a chat with us. We're really excited to have you here. I have known you for quite a while. I've attended a lot of events where you've spoken. So really excited to have you here. Pushpa, can you tell us a little bit about your journey, what you're doing now, how you came to be doing it, and just tell us a little bit about your journey.
Okay, for sure. That could be for days and weeks, but however, we're going to really summarize it. So I'm originally from Africa. I was born in Kenya, Nairobi, but my heritage is Indian. And parents took us to the UK, and that's where I was brought up. And finally, we made my transition to Australia in 2008. So I came to Australia with 2 children. My husband passed away nearly 22 years ago, and it was a huge transition. As a leader, I suppose my life began at the age of 5 years old when the nursery school actually asked my mother if I could be a role model for the other little kids that were very quiet or, not really connecting with people. So I believe that was my first leadership experience. And then not long after that, my mother passed. So then I had to take on another leadership role and look after my family as well. I have 9 brothers. I have 2 sisters. So we're a family of 12. We got married when I was 18 to the spiritual love of my life, and that was a profound experience. My first business experience was at the age of 11 when I won the Young Entrepreneurial Award in the UK when we had a project to do at school. So I suppose that business mindset has always been a part of my life. And I married into business as well. So they were a global organization, and I think that just took my leadership to another level. Then following his passing, I decided I had to move. Things weren't great, but I was fortunate that during that marriage, I was able to study. And even though I studied psychology when I was at college and when I went on to do further education, somehow I studied accountancy, and I think that was more because of our businesses. Oh dear, sorry. Of course that happens. I do apologize.
That's okay.
So yes, studied accounting, and our business was open 7 days a week, 18 hours a day. And the only time I got the opportunity to study my degree or my master's was between 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. So I did my degree, I studied, then I got my master's, and I only went to university to sit the exams. However, I did win Student of the Year award because I helped a lot of other students. And it was that accounting that actually got me out of the city that we were living in, because the tax office was headhunting senior auditors. And then through there, I was seconded to the Treasury. And from there, I was able to move to Australia under that accounting skills. In saying that, I've always had coaching and mentoring on the side. So in the UK, I had my own consultancy and coaching business as well as the job. And it's something that I've always loved doing, helping communities, supporting people that are not advantaged or, less privileged than many of us. And my kids have had, that same education, and it's just beautiful to see that there's these wonderful human beings that really look out for other people as well. Following that, coming to Australia, my first job was with the Department of Child Safety, working with the frontline staff there as their financial trainer. I started my coaching business straight away as soon as I came to Australia. And I think it was on the 14th month by a Commonwealth Bank and Brisbane Times. We won Outstanding Business of the Year of being here in Australia for 14 months. And since then, the journey hasn't stopped. It's always been one thing or another, whether it's been private corporations, whether it's been my own business, whether it's been the charitable foundation. There's always been another level with God's blessings. And I truly believe that my faith has played a huge part in the journey that I've traveled.
Wow. That's a big journey.
It is an amazing journey. Absolutely.
That's a really big journey.
Em and I just took a deep breath and went, whoa, there's so much in that, isn't there?
Yeah, there's definitely been 7 major downfalls, with mom's death, husband's death, child's death, and, the loss of my business. And, I've had, of course you don't know, but I've had several crashes. And the gift is that I can't recall me just breaking down. I don't think I've ever done that. Yes, I've shed a few tears here and there, but I've just thought it's like there's an automation that I know what to do next. I know where I'm going, and I know, the purpose and the vision. And that's one thing I truly believe is that when we have that vision, whether that vision comes to fruition or not, there should always be a vision and a goal.
Very much so. Yeah. I guess that leads me a little bit into the next question that I had for you, I should say. And I read on your profile that you, as a qualified trainer and educator, you deliver a lot of workshops on emotional intelligence. What can you share with our audience about that particular skill, and why is it so crucial for people to succeed in life?
Yeah, for sure. And Sandra, that was something that we did a lot of teaching with year 11 and 12s last year. And following the pandemic, we found the increase of mental health issues were on the growing. In fact, they're still growing. And why emotional intelligence? Well, the concept is there. There's a theory element to it. When I started teaching it, I really wanted to add the human factor to it as well. Because with emotional intelligence, the education is understanding other people's behaviors, what they're doing, why they're doing, how we should reciprocate with that, like listening, understanding, doing things differently. There was, when I was talking to especially the younger generation, and I did this for the over 50s as well, is that they knew the knowledge, but there was a lack of understanding. And this is one concept. My new book's coming out in a couple of weeks' time. Well, it's going to the printers this Friday. It's called The Ultimate Leadership Mastery. And one of the things I say in that is that, information and knowledge is just that. And you truly take ownership when you understand it and you discover it. So that the level of that theory, we wanted to get it to a point where people can say, I really get it. It's not just about completing an assessment. So I taught the Diploma of Business, and that was an element of that, the Diploma of Project Management. I teach real estate as well. I have my own real estate company. And we always add the emotional and the love and the wisdom element to everything that we teach, because that's what brings in the personal human factor, what we were all brought in this world to do, right? To love each other, to bring wisdom, to share that, and more importantly, always doing it from a place of humility.
A place of humility. I love how you've expressed everything that you've been through so far and your journey in, training and educating. I think you work with a lot of leaders and organizations to help them increase innovation capacity. So what does a culture of innovation and creative leadership mean for you and your clients? Like, you've obviously taken taken a leadership role from a very young age. So how has this then led you to the work you're doing, and what does it mean for you and your clients?
For sure. So for me, innovation growth is really, really important. And today's day and age, we know that, technology wise, we are really expanding and it's growing in a fast pace. So innovation for me is that we are taking steps to grow with those times. New things are coming in. In fact, just over the weekend, we did 3 days worth of training for AI and the app. And again, that's one of the things as a trainer and educator, I encourage people to use ChatGPT and to do the research. However, again, to write it in your own words so that we know that you understand it. They're really great tools for research. They're really great tools for writing, but interpret it, because sometimes the AI tools don't even answer the question. And I've seen that happen a lot in the answers. And I'm like, you don't even speak like this. What are you thinking? Right. And this is both for young and adults. Like the real estate I teach is mainly for adults. And it's interesting when they put the information. So with the innovation for me is that we have to change with times. My leadership that I teach, I create leaders of change. And these leaders are those that go on to ignite transformation. And why do I do that? Is because I really want to be living at the highest expression of myself as a leader, so that, others can see that what is possible for them, it can happen. And just because I am where I am, the whole goal for me is to help others be even better. Because we've all been brought into this world with different skills, different talents, different purposes to fulfill. I can't be you, Sandra. I cannot be you. Yet when we get together, we have this beautiful energy. We have this beautiful base of knowledge and wisdom. However, we still need to go back into our own space and deliver the reason that we're here on this earth. So for leaders, there is no stopping in their growth. There is no stopping in their innovation. And I know for myself, if I had stopped learning, because I'm still learning, I've only just finished another Cert 4, is that for me, it would be like dying. And that's me. So, and I've always studied, whether I did my PhD or whether I did another degree, it wasn't about getting the accreditations or the recognition. It was just for me to gain the knowledge. And it worked out so well that everything that I've studied, it's come into place for the right thing at the right time. So there you go. That might be a bit long of an answer. I do apologize.
No, that was perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's interesting because you're talking about innovation and cutting edge, but you also incorporate meditation into your training. So how does that sort of bring it all together?
All right. So with the meditation is everything that we do in life is 80% psychology, everything, which means that that's our mindset, our conscious and our unconscious mind. People think that, our conscious mind, it's in our mind, and our heart is separate from our subconscious mind, but our subconscious mind is our heart. That's when people say, what are your thoughts in your heart? Well, the thoughts are what our heart is thinking, right? What our heart is feeling. And then we have the conscious mind, which is the thing that thinks immediately of something. But when we live in this meditative state, we actually connect with our unconscious, our subconscious, our heart, and we truly get the answer that resonates with whatever's happening. So I was asked to teach yoga for a group in North Brisbane on International Yoga Day. And I thought it's been a while since I've actually taught yoga in a park. And how am I going to do this? And when it came to meditation, I truly said to them that set an intention that's going to benefit you, not just sitting here counting numbers or listening to your heartbeat or, music. Meditation is truly giving yourself the opportunity to just give your mind, your heart, your soul, your spirit, your will a rest so that whatever we've taken in, say, for example, during the day or what we've done in life so far or where we're going forward, it just gives us an opportunity to really resonate with everything. And we could do that while we're listening to music. We could do that while we're listening to the birds. But again, the meditation comes from a place of really understanding where we are, our physiology, our focus, the language patterns that we use. And as a human being, the truth of why we're here and are we really living that? And is it okay to share a funny story?
Yes, please.
So, the meditation, and you mentioned innovation and growth earlier, it all sort of contributes to our identity. So who are we as individuals? And that's in this world, so many people have lost their identity. And, like I was at the airport the other day, and there was people that were dressed like movie stars. I think it was movie stars or a singer, I don't know. And they're walking like this person and the hair's like that. And I couldn't stop laughing. It's like some people have lost their identity. They want to try and be somebody else, but they, truly don't know who they are. And with everything that we do, the first thing we do is wanting to identify who they are as a leader so that they can then nurture that leadership. Because we're all born leaders. We just need to identify where we're going, the skills and resources that we have, because we've all been given what we need to fulfill the reason that we're here for. But it's up to us to nurture it.
Very much so. And intention, I think I took from that is know what you're doing and why you're doing it. And that you'll get there, rather than just doing it for show or for looking like someone else or whatever. So that's very
important. And that was one of the questions. I was invited as a guest speaker for a group for Refugee Day. And even during that yoga class, because they were back to back, what's the intention? And when, you find your intention, and it might not be that, why am I here? The intention behind cooking a meal, or the intention of having this podcast. Why are we doing this? Because this podcast is going to make a difference to a lot of people that get to hear it. There's an intention behind everything that we do in life. If we consciously and unconsciously set that intention, life becomes totally different.
And I think on the aspect of self-awareness, I love the idea of self-awareness, knowing yourself and having that identity, because everyone else is taken. We're better off just being ourselves. Now, Pushpa, you've had a long, your story, you faced so many adversities, you've gone through a lot of heartbreak, a lot of challenges. What do you think, what is the one thing that you would say you have learned through everything that you've gone through, that you would, if someone's going through, some tough times, what would be the advice you'd give them based on your experience and how you've pushed through and are where you are now?
For sure. I learned at a very young age, my mother was everything for me. Literally, she was everything, to a point where she had 3 jobs in a day, and that time we didn't even have a car, and this is in the UK. I remember carrying the boxes of shopping with her, bringing them home, feeding 14 mouths a day. And I'd go to work with her before school, then she'd do her office job, and then I'd go to work with her in the evening, then come home and cook the meals. And, at the weekends, we didn't have a washing machine. Everybody's clothes were washed in the bathtub. And one thing I realized was, when she passed away, she was only 42, and I was very angry with God, because I'd promised my mother I was never going to get married. I was going to look after her forever. And I had this vision, and I had heard this sound in my head that there are a lot of mothers out there that could truly do with the love that you had for your mother. And the one thing that keeps me going is that anything that happens in life, good or bad, is an opportunity for growth and innovation.
Very true. Very true. So there's been so many words of wisdom from you today, Pushpa. So, thank you very much for that. One last question, I guess, is What keeps you inspired and empowered to continue on your journey? You've achieved so much.
Yeah.
What next?
But priority for me, and this is something, we were doing an event with Tony Robbins the other day, and he asked, what is it that keeps you going? And he goes, what's your my? And I said, well, first it's my God, my family, so my grandchildren, my kids, my foundation, my people, and my business. And once I have 2 grandchildren, there's a third one coming. And that was a huge change in my life, because I thought the next generation is coming. And, since my husband died 20, whatever, how many years ago, we're getting a new lease of life coming in. So everything shifted within me. And what keeps me going right now is that I want to leave a legacy for my grandchildren. And I truly believe that, a parent is that great parent that knows that they're going to leave a legacy for their grandchildren. And I also want to leave the legacy for the children of this world that really needs it.
Beautiful.
And remember, a child never grows old in any one of us. I'm more boisterous than my grandchildren.
I bet you are.
Oh gosh, I love that. Now, Pushpa, you mentioned that you've got a book coming out, Ultimate Leadership Mastery. How can our listeners get their hands on a copy?
For sure. So my publisher's she's finalized it. We're going to the printers on Friday. It was supposed to be last week, but we thought we'll leave it till this week. We'll have some copies with us in the next few weeks. They can either, I'm happy for you to share my phone number, the website link, Leaders by Design. I have the charity as well. So the Women's Mentoring Foundation, that's a good place to connect with me. Please give out my number, my emails, you have that as well. And we'll definitely be doing my digital marketing team will definitely be doing some posts on that as well. Oh, and we're going to have some launches. So I'll let you know about the launches when we have that.
Fabulous.
Oh, fantastic. We would love to come along.
Thank you. I'd love to have you there. I love you guys.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. How can you, one last advice, if you were to give advice to people listening in now about where to find their sources of empowerment and motivation, what would be that one piece of advice to people listening?
The first, I'm going to say this, that of course they can reach out to myself, and a lot of people are out there to help them. The truth of the matter is that everybody has got what they need. However, during lifetime, things happen. So when our original talent, skills, resources are within us and we have this passion for life, when things happen, it's stacked within our neurosystem. Hence, I do clinical neuro practitioner work. Is that when that stacking happens, we tend to hold on to it. And that's when the stress and the anxiety and the depression starts. It's time to let that go and to just release yourself and to unleash who you truly are. And one thing that, in both those businesses, I lead, I heal, I inspire, I transform. When I was going through some challenging times, especially just 5 years ago, well, let's say 10 years ago, I said yes to something. And then 5 years ago, I lost everything. And I was like, what made me say yes at that time that got me to this position? Well, the first thing was that I trusted everybody, right? That's changed a lot. Now I use a lot of discernment. But the other thing was I realized why I hadn't healed from my pain. And there's this vicious circle that men, women, our youth, our young people go through the same thing because they haven't healed from whatever they've gone through in the past. Like whether it's good or bad, there's triggers that it's going to bring back in this present moment. So the first thing I would say is that, get some help through somebody that's going to help you deal with the past. You can recreate that story. You can change the emotions and the meanings that you've given to events in your life that you're still holding on, like the guilt or the blame or the hurt or the confusion. Once you've dealt with that, you've got this beautiful conscious, unconscious foundation to really focus, build your confidence so that you can start building your present and moving forward. So to that question, I would say is that first, see if you can help yourself or accept the fact that there is something there that I haven't dealt with. And it might be something simple as forgiveness. I say simple, but it's a huge thing. Forgiving yourself, forgiving others. It's like a release. And, to heal from that will, my friends, really allow you to move forward as well. But what it will give you is a life that you are meant to be living.
Pushpa, thank you so much for joining Sandra and I on Empowered Voices Amplified. We've got so many golden nuggets, during this conversation. I was getting inspired and motivated as well. And, thank you for joining us and for taking time to speak to us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here, Sandra and Em. Beautiful.
Thank you, Pushpa. It's been a pleasure.
And for our listeners who've tuned in to yet another episode of Empowered Voices Amplified, thank you for tuning in. If you've got any questions or would like to know more about the book and everything else that we've discussed on this episode, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you again for listening to this episode. We appreciate your support as always, and we will see you next time.